Yep, I've got one to start us off from Eric B. He says, I'm self-employed and the vehicle I drive is 100% work-related. I'm not trying to buy anything new, but I will need a car that's somewhat expensive. Can I break the 23/8 car buying rule since it will be depreciating over 6 years? Is it ever okay to break 23/8? I'm interested to hear what y'all say to this.
Well, okay, so that's an interesting question, right? So there's two well, it's interesting. A lot of people ask us, is it ever okay to break 23/8? But I do appreciate Eric throwing a unique flavor on there, Brian, that we haven't talked a ton about, because now it's a business asset. So he owns some sort of business where automobiles are required. Maybe it's a construction company, work truck, something like that. And there are unique tax rules surrounding how you can use an automobile in business. So if that's the case, can he break 23/8 since it's a business asset? What say you?
I'll give you the short answer first. No. Now let me give you the details. And no, I want to give some flavor on this so that Eric knows we're just not mean and I'm not playing my Susie Orman part where I just say no to everything. There's actually some logic behind this and math as well. A lot of times, especially, you gave us a lot of clues here. You said you use this 100% of the time for business. When I was doing my tax preparation season of life for those 16 years, I was shocked to see how many miles that people put on work vehicles. Mm-hmm. You know, I think about sales reps, people who use vehicles to go out to customers. I think about construction crews when they're going and servicing clients or going to sites. It's not uncommon for vehicles to get 45,000, 50,000, 60,000 miles in a single year. I mean, I see this all the time. We don't have the clarification on how long Eric's using it. And then he mentioned he was going to depreciate this over 6 years. So off the cuff, that means this probably is not a 6,000 or pound or greater vehicle, because he's already talking about. But even if it's less than even if it weighs less than 6,000 pounds and doesn't qualify for that super accelerated depreciation, even cars that weigh less than the 6,000 get some form of accelerated depreciation. And what I always worry about, think about this, if you have somebody who's using a vehicle for 100% use and they're wearing this vehicle out, so it's probably not going to make 6 years, but they're also going to take some accelerated depreciation, even if it's not 100% in the beginning. You get to the part where you need to replace this vehicle, plus you get to the part that your taxes are higher because you took the accelerated depreciation a few years earlier. You could have an actual double whammy on this situation where you were actually looking for flexibility, but all you did was you actually squeezed yourself and turned a good situation into a bad situation because you were looking for a way to spread out the cost of this. I would rather you be conservative, especially with business. Remember how often I talk about you put on your 3D glasses and you run your dream plan, you run your down to earth, and then you run the doo-doo plan because things can go bad. I worry if you're not taking into account how bad things could be if all of a sudden you had a squeeze of your client base or in your business, you took all those accelerated depreciation a few years earlier and now the vehicle's breaking. Just be careful. I'd rather you go conservative as a business owner than just to assume everything's going to work out perfectly.
Yeah, one of the things I think is really unique is that oftentimes when we see small businesses, it is a reflection. The way that a small business operates is a reflection of the owner's or the individual's personal life. Like if they don't necessarily make fantastic personal financial decisions, oftentimes that bleeds into the business. Stepping away from 23/8, just kind of thinking academically about what you said, I'm a business owner. I'm going to go buy a piece of equipment and I'm going to borrow money to pay for that piece of equipment longer than it will be in use. If that's the way that you are executing business practices, you're going to run into some headwinds. Like it's going to be a hard thing to keep a profitable business, especially if it's a capital intensive one, if you're making those kinds of decisions. So whether 23/8 is applicable or not, I think one of the things that might behoove you is don't pay for an asset for longer than you're going to use it inside your business, or else you're never going to be able to play catch up. Now, let me speak to the other side of it. Is it ever okay to break 23/8? Absolutely. If you want to go pay cash for a car, you don't have to do 23/8. You can absolutely do that. And that would be our preference. We love people to pay cash for cars. Certainly, even inside of the business environment, if you have capital where you can do that and you're not having to lose money to interest expense, you still get the benefit of the depreciation. Great to break 23/8 in that direction. I don't know that I'd be super excited to break in the other direction.
And remember, I want you to like and subscribe because a lot of you guys, over half of you, are brand new to the channel. If you don't know what 23.8 is, 23.8 is a car buying rule or vehicle rule where you're putting down 20%. You're not financing longer than 3 years, and you're making sure that the payments don't exceed 8% of your gross income. And also, you're making sure your investments exceed your car payment. And a big part of this whole thing is just to make sure that you're having a bridge to affordable, reliable transportation. We always agree with Bo. If you can pay cash for a vehicle, by all means, pay cash for the vehicle. This is supposed to be the Corolla rule, not the Land Cruiser rule, where you get reliable transportation, not to flex and show off or get rules that give you opportunities to buy luxury vehicles ahead of time.